Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy.
Hello, welcome back to our journey across Russian old game stuff. Today I bring you something rather unintelligible. I present you Tsarevna, a medieval Russia quest, a game made in 1994 by Sibart from Krasnoyarsk. It is considered one of the first Russian point and click quest games aimed at the Western market, and the way it aims at it is rather peculiar. Apparently, Sibat had Napoleonic plans. There was an interview of a developer, Oleg Gasanov, in a newspaper, Вечерний Krasnoyarsk, on 28th of February 1995, and luckily it can be found on the internet. The development started in early 90s. At first, he speaks a lot about technical side of the game and claims that in fact it was about creating our own OS. The artists were found on the Krasnoyarsk silk factory. Some new Russian bought them a color scanner which cost like a car back then. A professional writer, Vladimir Chagin, was responsible for the script. And I'd like to translate this part of the interview. The most important thing is that the plot is non-linear. There is no such thing as just moving from level to level. You go to any location, but you need to remember everything. You realize that you made a false move much later. An insignificant step at the beginning leads to serious consequences at the end. I read the interview after having played the game, and I was puzzled about the non-linear plot. It's completely straightforward with no alteration whatsoever, but then I realized that by non-linear plot, the developer here means that you can move throughout the locations practically freely, which backfires by serious consequences mentioned, and serious consequences mean soft locks. A lot of soft locks. You will deeply feel the irony of these words later, I promise you. I felt it with all my heart. Let's finally start the game. I'll skip the next several screens with texts, they just have some information which is very questionable from a historical point of view. The game tells us about Russian cities and bears, of course, no Russia without bears, and that the Tsar was the boss who ruled from the Kremlin and had several beautiful daughters. Wait. That's already a lot to unpack here. First of all, our main character is an American with the most American name ever. And is this a Cold War reference? Whatever. Bob Biscuit plays a game, sees a character, the Tsarevna, falls in love with her immediately, and then Tsarevna, being a character in a game played by Bob, addresses him, apparently understanding that she's a character and he's a real human being, because she tells him to get to her country even though the character he is playing must already be there. And our protagonist time travels to medieval Russia with no explanation whatsoever. And no, he doesn't infiltrate the virtual reality of the game he was playing. He really time travels, and later we meet another time traveler who also doesn't offer any explanations. It's already so messy, and it was just the premise. So, Bob Biscuit is in Russia, and he has no problems communicating with local people, as we'll find out later. For now, let's figure the controls out. Right clicking summons the interface. Controls, volume settings, info about the developers, save, load, exit, walk. You can also walk using arrows, but it's torture. Interact, speak, look, inventory, switching between subtitles and voiceover, but I explored this one closer to the end of the game.
За неумеренное потребление пищи, табака и спиртных напитков вор и бродяга Бисквит приговаривается к американской диете. В обед посмотреть на тарелку супа.
All in all, the game looks rather nice. It's bright, colorful, the music is okay ish, but controlling the character is very painful. Our main objective for now is to get to the city. The guards won't let us in, so we must find some other way. This old woman promises to tell us about a secret passage to the city if we bring her a passport. And there will be a lot of long texts, I won't translate them, it'll be tedious and pointless. We explore further.
Подайте герою монгольских битв.
Well, that was genuinely funny, okay? Hi, it's future me, barely able to speak because I had a surgery recently, but this part just sparked a thought. The game states that we are about 5 centuries ago. Tsarevna released in 1994, so it was the 20th century. 20 minus 5 will be the 15th century. But it can't be, because the first ever Tsar in Russia was Ivan the Fourth, or Ivan the Terrible, and he lived in the 16th century. So let's assume that the 16th century is meant because 1994 is near the end of the 20th century anyway. The old man states that he took part in the Mongolian battles, and the last battle that could be described as such took place in 1480 and is known as the Great Stand on the Ugra River. The old man looks really old, but alive, and Ivan the Terrible was named Tsar in 1547. It means that the old man is 80 plus years old, and the Tsar from the game can be no other than Ivan the Terrible. So we have a timeline, which is cool, but makes no sense anyway, because Ivan the Terrible had no daughters named the way that Tsarevna is named. Her name became popular and widespread in Russia only in the 19th century. We need to get to the tavern, and we'll do it if only this annoying pig lets us. It sometimes decides to prevent you from moving. I'm not sure what it depends on. Inside, we quickly grab a knife, and a guard arrests us because no passport, no rights. This episode is mentioned in the interview from the beginning of this video, and this is my favorite part of it. Just listen to it. Another funny story with the sounds. There's an episode in the game where the hero is beaten with whips, and he, of course, screams. We recorded shouting as much as we could. The security didn't know what to think when they broke in with guns. And I assure you, you don't even imagine the scale. There are 17 audios with screams in the game files, and I present you this symphony.
Ай! Ай-яй-яй! Ай! Ай! Ой! 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 Ой-ой-ой! Ай-яй-яй-яй-яй!
Now we have a knife. It's not confiscated for some reason. We open these doors with it. And by the way, we also have a watch and a lighter in our inventory from the beginning. Look at it. Look at it and tell me what should I take. What is clickable in this barn? Yeah, a rope and a plank. Pixel hunting strikes again. We go further. Here, we knock the door and give the boy a rope. He gives us a ladder instead. The ladder must be given to someone digging a hole in another location. This someone gives us money. And we can give the money to the poor old man by the tavern. He will thank us in French, and it will be a first soft lock out of many. And just look at how the save files menu look like. Actually, we must give the money to the guard, and he will give us a passport. Wait a minute, passports in medieval Russia? What the hell? Actually, first passports were implemented by Peter I. They were only for peasants for traveling inside the country. They weren't called passports, of course, but they had a similar purpose of identification of a person. Now we can give this passport to a granny. There turns out to be a secret passage behind the planks in a barn. The granny gives us a key for a door in this passage. And here we can die. we can't return from this location. We can't. We are stuck here forever. Because in the tavern, I must have taken this jug and give it to a magic snake. Here's the time traveler I've already told you about. He's stuck in the dungeon, and we can talk to him, and that's it. He doesn't say anything useful at all. He's barely needed for the plot. We open the door, climb up, and find ourselves in the stable. This man is a father of a girl who sometimes crosses the very first location. He gives us a letter for her. So, finally, we are inside the city walls, but we need to leave right now to bring the letter to the girl. We cross the square. Oh, this one kinda looks like the Dalmatian Cathedral. Cool. And I like how it looks inside. I think it's my favorite location in the game. And inside, it also looks like the Domitian Cathedral. If we look at the frescoes, some very strange message appears. It says that if we like the frescoes and we want to get a better look, we are to seek for a new version of Tsarevna. I don't know what it means, but no thanks. The Bible reveals a hint to the Tsarevna's name. We go out, a merchant appears, we trade the watch, wait for the girl, give her a letter. She asks to return to her father and bring him her answer. She also gives us a rejuvenating apple. It's a rather common item in Russian fairy tales. To return to the city, we bribe a guard. The father of that girl gives us a lucky horseshoe as a token of his gratitude. The apple goes to that time traveler and he gives us a ring. The ring is given to a girl on the square. In return, she opens a door of the palace for us. A bear, of course, of course. And a jug with tar or oil, or I'm not sure, because none of the items are named in the inventory. In the dungeon, there is a key. A key to this door. Further in the game will appear on the other side of it, but somewhere between these scenes I loaded and forgot to take the key somehow and stuck here. Again, I didn't manage to orient myself in my save files, so I just started all over. Again. Further in the dungeons, we meet some poor people. We open the door for them, make fire, and die. Ah, the monster needs a Tsarevna's handkerchief, but the time frame in which you need to give it to it is so small that you die and die and die and die and after that, here you can drink yourself to jail, but we won't do it. We wait until the guard drinks himself to stupor and take the key from him. Go up, bribe another guard with wine. Now we can move freely. In one of the chests there is one more key. In another room there are a lot of foreign suitors who wish to marry our Tsarevna. If we annoy them long enough, they'll give us a chewing gum. We give it to the ladies, and the ladies give us an egg. One more available room of the palace is a dining hall. Here we must take honey, and then we eat and drink ourselves to jail. Can't. I can't. Punch a guard, use one of the many keys, give an egg to the magic snake, return all the way back to the very first dungeon entering in the barn to retrieve the handkerchief, give the lucky horseshoe to the poor man, he gives us yet another key, and it opens the well, and that's what I was talking about earlier. I'm here, and the key's forgotten there. I'm stuck. I want I want this to end. Oh my god. um this part is practically the end of the game, so it's very painful to start from the beginning. Yet I did, and got softlocked by a bug here when the guard took the money but still didn't let me through. Okay. Okay. I am calm. I am as cool as cucumber. We give honey to the bear. It lets us look into the chest. We find gold there. After returning to the room with foreign suitors, we give the handkerchief to a person who sometimes goes out of the door. He lets us in. We bribe the clock. Man, there is a lot of bribery in this game. Art is a reflection of life, I guess. Finally, finally, we are in front of the Tsar. He asks what his daughter's name is, and it's Ludmila. Congratulations! why? Why is it in English? What the hell? And why congratulations? Here I am being so anxious of mistakes I make when speaking English, and here are Russian developers who don't give a shit. So this is it. This is the journey of Bob Biscuit. He married the Tsarevna, and now what? Is he forever stuck in medieval Russia? Is he never to return to his time, his country, his family and friends? History does not record it. Boy, that was quite a game. I suffered while playing it. I suffered a lot. My video files are so confusing because I started all over and over again because of softlocks. That's why I won't upload any walkthrough, no commentary, even though I did it for previous games I played, because I honestly, I have no idea how to connect all the files into one coherent walkthrough. So yeah, stay tuned for more old obscure old game stuff. Your likes and comments mean a lot to me, so feel free to express your thoughts, and thanks for watching.